You must have heard in the news that on August 24th, 2023, Donald Trump was taken into custody on allegations of engaging in racketeering and conspiracy to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Racketeering means fraud, extortion, or violence in order to obtain money or power. In the case of Donald Trump, the charges of racketeering and conspiracy say that he and his associates engaged in a pattern of illegal activity in order to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Now, who pressed these charges on Donald Trump? The charges were imposed by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. She is the prosecutor who is investigating Donald Trump for potentially criminal meddling in the 2020 election in the state of Georgia. Let me tell you something about this lady. She is also a member of the Democratic Party. Therefore, it is natural for her to go against Donald Trump, who is the Republican 2024 presidential nominee. Now, let me also tell you what are the charges that have been put against Donald Trump. Overall, there are 4 charges. Number 1. Donald Trump has been charged with unlawfully interfering with the election by pressuring Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to find enough votes to overturn his loss in the state. The second charge is he has been charged with unlawfully influencing the election by pressuring Raffensperger to recalculate the votes in absentee ballots. An absentee ballot is a vote cast by someone who is unable or unwilling to attend the official polling station to which the voter is normally allocated. So it is said that Donald Trump has forced Georgia's Secretary of State to recalculate the votes and bring it in his favor. The third charge is Donald Trump has been charged with obstructing the election in Georgia by threatening Raffensperger with criminal prosecution if he did not comply with his demands. And the fourth charge says that Donald Trump has made false and misleading statements about the election results in Georgia. So these are the 4 indictments that have led to arrest of Donald Trump. But let me make it very clear that these charges are still allegations. Donald Trump has not been convicted of any crimes. That is the reason Donald Trump is out on bail, and he said he will challenge all these charges one by one in the court. If you notice, in 3 out of these 4 charges, one name that pops out is Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Let me tell you, he is a member of the Republican Party, the same political party that Donald Trump belongs to. Currently, there are no charges against Brad Raffensperger. However, he has been made a target of the investigation by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. Since he is Georgia's Secretary of State, only through him Donald Trump can be framed with criminal charges. If you read both Donald Trump's and Raffensperger's statements, they both have denied any wrongdoings, and they have said that the investigation is politically motivated. Let me also tell you, currently the Republican political party continues to dominate and maintain complete control at the state level in Georgia. The Republican Party controls the offices of Governor, Secretary of State, Attorney General, and both chambers of the state legislature. So now you will have a very important question in your mind. How is it that the state of Georgia, which is in full control and has significant influence of the Republican Party, even then Donald Trump and Raffensperger, who are Republican members, are facing political charges? How is that happening? So this is where you have to understand that the charges and accusation against Donald Trump may seem relatively minor, but it is crucial to understand the importance of this question. Only then you will understand the whole picture. So here's the answer. Definitely the state of Georgia is currently controlled by the Republican Party, but that does not mean that all Republicans agree with Donald Trump and his ideology. That is why all of this is happening. There is a growing faction of Republicans who are critical of Trump and his political ideology. These Republicans believe that Trump's actions are dangerous and they think it will undermine the so-called American democracy. It is also a sign that the United States Republican Party is not a monolithic structure and there is a diversity of opinion within the party. Again, I am repeating what I said. These charges against Trump and Raffensperger are still allegations. They have not been convicted of any crimes. However, these charges can eventually develop with time, and it could have a significant impact on the Republican Party. And eventually, the Republican Party will be forced to expel Donald Trump. That is why there have been news about Donald Trump wanting to run 2024 presidential election as a third-party candidate, basically independent. Although he has not explicitly said that he wants to run as a third-party candidate in the 2024 presidential election, however, he has made statements that suggest he's considering it.
Donald Trump is on a roll. So far, an unstoppable one. I'm leading every single poll, and nationwide, I'm leading in every one of them. So obviously, I'm very happy where I am.
Republican Nikki Haley, the first Indian-American governor of South Carolina, said Trump's comments were damaging to the GOP.
It's just an embarrassment to the Republican Party. I mean, it's absolutely un-American. It's unconstitutional. It defies everything this country was based on.
Although he has not explicitly said that he wants to run as a third-party candidate, and suppose if he does that, it is going to split the Republican vote bank and give the Democrats a better chance of winning the election. And one more thing that may happen, which has never happened in the history of American politics. It will cause a major disruption to the American political system, because more than two political party system in America has never been thought of. A two-party system has consistently dominated the American political landscape. It will be a major blow to the American ruling political elites. I have said this before in my previous videos, and I'm going to say this again. Western countries have turned into communist states. And if you critically think about it, you will often find the Democrats are above the law. Let me give you some examples. A bag of cocaine was found in the White House. Reports suggest that it belongs to the Biden family. There will be no investigation against him because he is the president, and more importantly, he is a Democrat. A dead body was found in Obama's house. Obama's personal chef was found dead, and his body was recovered from Obama's backyard. But there are no charges or any criminal investigation against former President Barack Obama. A male escort was found in Nancy Pelosi's house. Although this incident was termed as fake, however, there are many facts that do not support the theory of robbery. So it was a cover-up. A cover-up is always greater than any scandal. Then there was an illegal server that was found at Clinton's house when she was the Secretary of State. A cabinet-level politician running her own private server at home. Don't you think the charges of treason can be easily pressed on Hillary Clinton? But nothing happened to her. And the worst part is that all these things are publicly known to the American citizens. Yet they are totally overlooked, and half the country does not even question it. There is a term called deflection. In a political context, I will give you an example of deflection. Suppose a politician is asked about their record on healthcare. They deflect by talking about their opponent's record on taxes. Suppose a politician is asked about their support for controversial policy. They deflect by talking about the need for unity and bipartisanship. And suppose a politician is asked about a scandal involving their campaign. They deflect by talking about the media's bias against them. So you see, deflection is a common tactic used by politicians to avoid answering difficult questions or to change the subject. It can be used to deflect blame, to avoid taking responsibility, or to simply avoid answering the question. This is a classic technique used by the communists. For example, during the Cold War, Soviet politicians often deflected questions about human rights abuses by pointing the human rights abuses of capitalist countries. They also deflected questions about the lack of democracy in the Soviet Union by talking about the need for stability and unity. Then communist leaders have also used deflection to defend their policies. For example, when asked about the failure of the Great Leap Forward, Chinese leader Mao Zedong deflected the question by talking about the achievements of the Chinese Revolution. I have said this in my previous videos. After the fall of the Soviet Union, that is in 1991, communism left Russia and moved deep into the Western society under a brand new name. When I say Western society, it is the United States, Canada, European countries, Nordic countries, Australia and New Zealand. Communism, social democracy and socialism all are brainchild of Marxism. Today you will find all modern versions of similar ideologies. You just have to add neo in front of all these words. You look at any political party in Western countries, whether it is the Labour Party, Democrats, Socialists, Liberals or Leftists, all follow the neo-Marxist theory. The only difference between Marxism and neo-Marxism is that the modern version, that is the neo-Marxist theory, has very smartly incorporated two things. One, capitalism, because they understand the value of money. And number two, academic fraternity. That is why universities have become a breeding ground for social justice warriors. In other words, woke culture. The Western governments are actively and openly supporting woke narratives. Now, recognizing your nation's history, culture and traditions and identifying those who aim to undermine them is a vital aspect of civic awareness. Anyhow, this is the American politics in a nutshell. I hope you found this video informative. Thank you for watching it.